Hello, everybody. My name is Silent. Yep, that's right. It's Silent. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. If you're not, I hope it gets much better. Today's topic that we're going to talk about is going to be being a good worker. Yep, that's right. Being a good worker. I know, I don't know, maybe you guys have thought of this one before. Maybe you guys haven't thought of this one before. Um, but I think about a lot of stuff. So I don't know, my head's always thinking about stuff. So we're gonna talk about this one today. Pros, cons, I guess. And yeah, we'll get to it. Now, when I talk about being a good worker, I talk about at your work, your job, I guess. Not something weird. Yeah, I know some people think weird stuff all the time, but no, it's about being a good worker at your job. Your 9 to 5, or I don't know. There's actually not that many 9 to 5s anymore. And this is a side note, but there's not that many 9 to 5s. Mine's like an 8:30 to 5:30. Yeah, I know that's not a 9 to 5 at all, but yeah. Anyways, to get back to our topic about being a good worker and why that's not always good, in my opinion. Everybody has different opinions, but this is my opinion. So yeah. So being a good worker isn't always the best thing to do. And the reason for this is because the more you're a good worker, the more they're gonna have it at you, if that makes sense. I know I explained myself very bad, so I hope you guys can forgive me on that one. But if they see that you are a good worker and get your stuff done, they'll pile on more work for you, which you know I don't know. Some people think it's okay, but it's not because you're just getting thrown out a bunch of work while your coworkers there are not doing all their work, I guess. So they hand off to you, do other people's work. Now, of course, you're not gonna be lazy either. You're gonna do your own work, but there has to be a balance. And this is an issue that a lot of people don't understand. It's like people think you're either on one side. People think you have to be on one side or the other. There's no in between ground, and there has to be an in between ground for everything, man. You know, there's always like people are always like yes or no on this, and you're like, why? Why is it yes or no? It has to be. I mean, there can be, in the middle. There has to be a middle ground between this. I don't know why people are always saying yes or no. Like it doesn't have to be concrete, man. So for example, I work in IT, and I have coworkers who say, oh. If you don't dedicate your life to IT, you're not a good worker. You just see this as a paycheck. Like, yes, I do see this as a paycheck. This is a paycheck. If I wasn't getting paid, I wouldn't be working here. Would you? I'm pretty sure you wouldn't. We all need money. We all go out there to work and earn money. That's a concrete fact right there. Just because I see it as a paycheck, though, does not mean that I'm not gonna do my job. It doesn't mean that I'm not gonna try my best, do my 100%. I still will, I still will do my job the way it's supposed to be done. The only thing there is that I'm not gonna go above and beyond because that usually leads into bad things. And I think that's one of the big issues that people see is that if you just see your job as a job, they think, oh, well, he doesn't care, it's just a job for him, this and that. He's not, he doesn't want to be a good worker, this and that. Like, no, it is just a job, dude. Anytime they don't want you, they'll just fire you. And that's that. Like, why am I gonna devote all my time and, resources and care for this company? Because in the end, I'm just a disposable, like, employee. It sounds bad, but it's true. When they don't want you or when they don't need you, they'll just, like, fire you in there. That's it. So why am I gonna go above and beyond for someone that really isn't gonna care about me when I'm not useful anymore? I think we all gone through this phase where we just don't where we start working and we do give our all. We really do because we think, oh, will they care about me? And so I'll care about the job too. My first job, that's how I was. I was like, oh, will they care about me? So I'm gonna do all I can, like to do my job above and beyond. But I remember one time because I also worked very close with HR in my previous company. I remember one time I would just hear the way they would speak. They'd be like, oh, well, if something goes wrong, if the economy's bad, if we have to, do something cut costs, we'll just fire the employees and we'll get interns, because they're cheaper and this and that. And like with no hesitation at all, they're like, yep, just get rid of them as long as the company keeps on going. And that's when I thought, wow, like that's probably what they think of me. I'm like something that like they could just fire if things go wrong. And so I was like, well, if it's gonna be like that, then why am I gonna be, doing everything I can to make the company all good, Now, it doesn't mean I'm not gonna do my job as I'm supposed to, but what it means is that I'm gonna do just what my job is, and that's all. Nothing more, nothing less, just what's stated, and that's it. And that's what I have been doing. And my new job, I have not been giving my everything. I do give what is necessary, and what is not, I do not. Because, I've gone down that path before. And so you gotta be average. You can't be doing too little, slacking off, but you can't be one of those overachievers either. Because both ways can go bad. If you're slacking off, they will fire you. If you're an overachiever, they will give you more work. So if you're average, then what'll happen is, you're okay. You're like in the middle there. You got some cushion, but you know, you're good. You're all right. Now, I know it sounds bad because, everywhere you go, everywhere you see, people are like, oh, oh, this person's very successful in his job. I think your job, I think a lot of people or society has this thing where your job is what what categorizes you as successful in the society. If they see the CEO or if they see like this very important person. They're like, oh, he is this, he's that, because he went above and beyond. He does it all, he gives it his all. Like at the end of the day, you're just impressing society. You're pleasing society. You're pleasing the company. That's all. But like when you go home, who like if you have a family or if you're just by yourself, who are you pleasing? Are you really achieving what you want in life? Now, don't get me wrong. If you want to do that, that's fine with you. But I mean, I don't want to do that. I really don't care if society thinks a role model or if I'm something to someone to follow. If society or the corporate culture thinks this, I really don't care. At the end of the day, I want to live my life. I want to do me. I don't want to have this image of society thinking of me as oh this genius IT guy or something. You know, I don't care. I just want to live my life, and that's how it is, man. And I know it's tough, because I mean, there's people all around you, society's around you, everybody's around you, looking down on you, and to do your own thing is hard. It really is. But I mean, you'll once you're in that position, you'll get to where you're like, okay, I think I can't do this, and it's okay. If you can't do it, that's all right. There's no problem with that. I was in a situation. I was like, well, I learned from my past, and now I'm gonna do what I think is best. And you know what? It's a bit better for me. I'm not as much concerned as what's going on with the company or things like that because it can get very toxic. And yeah, there might be some boomers out there looking down on us on this video I'm putting. They're like, oh, these young people and stuff. It's not I don't want to work. I do want to work. I am working. I've worked, for a while now, but I'm not gonna be a pleaser, be a bootlicker, if I might say so. Even that might be inappropriate, but that's not what I'm gonna do. Apart from that, there's also this thing where, the higher you go up, the more responses you're gonna get. Sure, you might get a pay raise. If you don't, that's horrible. You should get one. Or if it's a small one, if it's a small pay raise, that's also not as good, I guess you could say. But anyways, the higher you go up the chain, the more responsibilities you have, the more stress you have. The more time you have to be at work, stuff like that. That's something I don't see positive, if you could say that. I'd rather be one of those average workers down the corporate pyramid, I guess. I wouldn't want to be up there as a CEO or whatever because you have to be, 24/7 on your job. That's because that's what how it is in those positions. I'd rather have some time for myself. And these people live so much stress on that job, on that CEO or that higher position job because I mean they have to be on their job all the time. I work with some. I haven't worked with some. What I'm trying to say is I have seen some CEOs and stuff like that. Those positions, stress eat or just out of their minds, because of the stuff they have to do. Because they have to be on the job 24/7. And that's something I just personally would not do myself. I mean, if it's not your company, you shouldn't be invested in the job that much. That's again just my opinion, but it is what it is. And so let me tell you guys a quick story about a past coworker that I knew. We'll call him John. So John was a very loyal worker. John would do anything, for a company. He had been there for around 12 years or so with a company. That's a long time, 12 years. That's like more than a decade, which it is. I'm sounding kind of dumb here, but yeah, I think you guys get the point here. And he had done everything, so many things. He'd saved them from so many situations. He had stayed up day and night just to save some stuff, save the company, do some jobs that were critical, a mission impossible, if I could say so. And even with all this that John had done, they would not take John into consideration for what he said, He always threw, he would always show them the red flags, show them the right way, and the company just would not care. They would go about their way. They would ignore the red flags that John pointed out. They would say that he was wrong, that he didn't know nothing. And then when things went down the rabbit hole, when things went bad, when things went south, then they started listening to John. But only in those instances they would listen to him. Only when things went bad, then they would, bring him up and say, "What do we do?" And he would save them, and then it would go back to normal, where nothing really mattered anymore. What he said. And there was a lot of fake promises that they gave John. John believed at first, but then he kind of he saw they were just fake promises. And John is still at this job today as we speak. But I think the good thing is that John is starting to find a new job, which is great. And I hope John finds a new job because he really deserves it. No, I'm not John. If you guys are thinking I'm John, that's not me. I haven't worked for 10 years at all, actually, for one company. So no, I'm not John, guys. But yeah, that's a story. And that's something that opened my eyes, and I was like, this is a sign, that I should not be, overachiever in my job. And I hope this is a story that, you guys look back or think about. Now I'm not telling you not to do your job, but I'm just saying, take into consideration what I said. And so the moral of the story here is don't be like John. Don't achieve or don't put all that time for a company. Just do your job. At the end of the day, it's a job. I know it sounds hard. Some of you guys are actually needing that job. A lot of us are. What I'm trying to say is don't overdo it. That's all, guys. As always, thanks for listening to this. I don't know, podcast. What's a video? So thanks for listening to this video. I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have a good one. If you guys have anything, any recommendations down below, anything you want to talk about, just post it down below. As always, like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks, guys.